Who's had to commute this week knows exactly how dangerous it can be trying to drive in this kind of weather.
Yes, snow and ice have led to some treacherous conditions on the roadways, leading to dozens of accidents, delays, and traffic
Yep,
backups.
got to be careful. Joining us now with some tips on how to stay safe on the road is Howard Huey, Director of Public Affairs for AAA Michigan. Thank you for being here with us.
Oh, glad to be here. Glad to be here and talking to you guys about this.
Yeah, thank you so much, Howard. So the first thing we want to get into are what are the most important things drivers need to be aware of in these conditions?
I think it's just cautious driving. Those things that you learned early on in driver's education, driving at appropriate speeds, recognizing road conditions for how fast you should be going for dangers, slick conditions, and obviously things that are happening around you with other vehicles on the road, particularly those that are offering maintenance to our roads to clear pathways for commuters.
Now, Lauren and I were talking in the break about the fact that a lot of times people who are from areas that are used to getting snow can get a little overly confident, and it only takes a second for things to really go wrong. What are your tips for people in terms of just changing the way they drive and also just realizing that the conditions have changed on the road?
You're absolutely right. People take for granted the years that they've driven in these types of conditions, and they do sort of come outside with sort of an overconfidence. What we tell people is, again, speed. That's the number one thing. Slow down. Just because the speed limit may say 45 and you're used to driving that particular track at that speed or faster, you should definitely slow down. Road conditions can be slick, even if they appear to be dry. There could be ice patches. And again, there are other vehicles around you who may not be able to navigate those conditions as confidently as you can. And so we just tell people to slow down.
And with that overconfidence, Terrence, like you mentioned, you could start sliding off of the road. What should people do if that starts to happen, Howard?
Wow, that's a great question. And so, just like in driver's education, first and foremost, if you're going at a reasonable speed in those conditions, hopefully you won't fishtail or slide off too much, but turn into the actual curve. That will help you to gain control, hopefully traction, so that you can correct your path and avoid, any type of crash.
Yeah, and in those moments when you feel that things have changed, your eyes get big, it's hard to really keep those things in mind. But if you do end up in an unfortunate situation where you do get off the road, what is the procedure there? Because the conditions are still so bad and a lot of cars are still coming, so that could be dangerous as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, there are a couple scenarios that I think about when you ask that question. So the obvious one is if you kind of go off the bank and now you're stuck. Well, hopefully you're out of the way and clear of traffic. And in that case, hopefully you're also a member of AAA. So you just give us a call and we'll get you out of that predicament. But if unfortunately you are still obstructing traffic in some way, that can go a myriad of ways. And hopefully, again, if people are listening to what we're discussing here tonight, they'll be driving at a speed where they can avoid that actual crash. They'll be going slow enough and giving enough distance between the car that's in front of them so that they can either veer clear or come to a complete stop to hopefully avoid that crash.
And Howard, one thing Terrence and I were also talking about was Friday when we had that big storm. So many cars were stopped, stuck, stalled. I mean, what do you do to stay safe in that situation? Do you stay in the car? Do you get out? I know you mentioned calling AAA, but in the meantime, while you're waiting to be rescued, what do you do?
Wow. Well, hopefully you'll be prepared for those scenarios. And we put out information. You can go to AAA.com to get more insight as to how to best prepare for the worst case scenario. But if you got an emergency kit in your car, extra blankets, water, extra battery for your mobile device, those things can help you in that situation. We don't encourage people to keep their cars running because if you unfortunately are going to be stalled for a couple of hours, you can run out of gas and that's not a good situation to be in. So we just ask people to kind of prepare for those scenarios with cautious optimism that you'll never have to encounter that type of situation. Preparedness is the best thing.
All right, Howard Huey, Director of Public Relations for AAA Michigan, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.